Hello, my name is Paul Good, and I'm here today with my colleague, Mr. Chris Taylor. We are coming to you today regarding issues in Sumner County, Tennessee, with kind of a public service announcement, if you will. More specifically, I'm currently your Commission Budget Chairman, and starting my third term, which I'll take this opportunity to again say thank you to the voters for your continued support.
Hi, I'm Chris Taylor, and I'm starting my first term. I'm currently the Budget Vice Chairman. I too would add my thanks for the opportunity to serve you. We understand there may have been some inaccurate information regarding recent actions taken by this Commission. From our positions, we're going to take a few minutes to clarify and also explain how we got to our new rate of 2.50 and some of our proposed plans going forward. This Commission strives to be the most transparent in county history, and to that point we've already announced updating our county website, adding a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and a YouTube account. And for the first time ever, we're going to be able to include our budgets as well as our meetings online.
Having questions is a good thing. Being factual is equally as important. We can all be very clear on one thing. No one likes to raise taxes or have higher taxes. In a perfect world, maybe we wouldn't have them. That said, one of the things we are proudest of is outside of Williamson County, Sumner County remains the lowest taxed county in Middle Tennessee. We thank you for this opportunity to share this information, and we ask that you please bear with us as we take a few minutes to share some specific facts using votes and actions taken by this body. So one of the popular misunderstandings that's been floating through the community, can the vote on the tax rate be rescinded? And it's absolutely no. Here you will see where the Attorney General's opinion, as well as the Tennessee General Assembly, has opined that that is not possible.
Let's talk about the certified rate. By law, the Property Assessor's Office calculates the certified rate as revenue neutral. Due to the devaluation of properties in Sumner County, this year's certified rate was 6 cents higher, for a new rate of 208. This is now the starting point, not 202. We've known this for a while. In fact, in June of 2014, the Commission was made aware that the certified rate would be increased 6 cents to 208. This helps clarify what the actual starting point would be for a tax rate if it was going to be set by the County Commission.
So why the confusion? Well, it's a complex issue, and we understand that. Here's one example in the community. On November the 6th, the local newspaper properly said that the tax increase was 20%. Yet, on 4 subsequent articles in the same newspaper, they changed it and said it was higher. Just a simple mistake. Another example is this documentation that's been floating around that is mostly inaccurate, that is trying to say that the tax rate is higher and so forth. Again, it's a complex issue.
Why did the rate have to be set at 250? With the understanding that the certified rate of 2.07 was not enough to fund current needs as set by previous commissions, a new rate would have to be met that could address the additional listed expenses as well as increase any other funding. For the purpose of this discussion, a 1 cent increase in the property tax equals approximately $400,000 in increased revenues. For simplicity's sake, we're going to discuss this in dollars and cents, rounding most numbers. So let's start with the accepted rate of 2.087. We now add the additional new judge in their court, improvements to the Millersville Library, and school resource officers in every school, and that's an increase of 3.08 cents. That gives us a new rate of 2.11. Now, to close the disparity between the budgeted revenues of the general fund and make them more manageable, it will require an increase of 3 cents. This puts our new rate at 2.14. The operational cost of the new Burris Elementary is 1.5 cents. Which takes the rate to now 2.16. To close this disparity between the budgeted revenues of the general purpose school fund and again get them manageable requires us to go 16.25 cents for a new rate of 2.32. It's really important to understand that the rate of 2.32 only meets the minimum needs for this current year. It does not address the continuing disparity of inflation nor the population growth that we know our county is going to expect over the next 10 years. It also does not address any potential capital issues such as large repairs, replacements, and acts of God. The rate of 2.32 only meets the minimum requirements. We can't have that. The previous commissions did not address any long-term plans nor their corresponding funding. The current capital bond has no available monies for future issues, so any of those problems we discussed earlier can't be addressed. Bearing all of that in mind, the Commission made the decision to fund a recurring capital fund. This would allow the county to address current needs related to growth and also plan for the future. This endeavor allows the Commission to borrow money. This is an increase of 18.1 cents and now gets us to our rate of 2.50. A quick glance at some of the historical rates we've had in the county. Over the past 18 years, we have had 8 different years where the rates were actually set higher than the current 2.50. On the chart here, each line represents a separate year. The years in red are noted as being higher than 2.50, our current tax rate.
Many in our community have been paying close attention to what's going on with these very important issues and asked how to help. Right here we have former County Commissioner Sean Utley.
Hello, my name is Sean Utley. I had the privilege of serving on the County Commission from 2008 to 2014. During that time, the county weathered one of the worst economic downturns we have seen in the last 80 years. I commend the previous commission for seeing the county through those difficult times. I also want to commend the now sitting commission for recognizing the need and making the tough decision they made. By the commission making the difficult decision, it will allow our county to meet previous commitments and invest in our county to move forward.
One of the important questions has also been economic development and investing in Sumner County. Here is one example with the help of Dr. Phillips and the school board and the county commission, a program that we will be doing that will renovate our schools completely, impacting 25 different schools and eliminating 100% of the portables.
Coming up next are 2 clips of some distinguished Sumner County residents, Andrew Turner and Mike Gahn. Please listen to their opinions.
I'm Andrew Turner, a retired school principal from Gallatin. It was my privilege to serve you in a position so rewarding and so impactful in many young lives. But in my 43 years in education in Sumner County, there were many moments of discouragement due to the lack of support in previous years. It's hard to see teachers and administrative staff work hard at benefiting our children and be viewed as undeserving of pay increases, competitive pay, technology, and current textbooks. Our children deserve teachers that are among the best in their field and equip them with the resources that allow these students to excel academically, even on a global scale. We'll look back to 2014 as the year when we allowed ourselves to believe we were worth the extra effort.
Hello, my name is Mike Gahn. I've lived in Sumner County for 50 years and have been a real estate professional for over 30 years. As a realtor, I'm always looking out to avoid having unnecessary taxes and fees levied on real estate, but I'm also concerned that we have competitive schools, good jobs, and a good quality of life in our communities. In that same time, I've seen the direct impact on home values in communities willing to invest in their own counties and towns, as well as those who have not. The largest investment made by most people are their homes, making it imperative that we invest in our communities in ways that protect and improve the values of our property and our quality of life. Excellent schools, roads, parks, and safe neighborhoods are vital in growing our local economy and can return many thousands of dollars back to taxpayers in the form of home value appreciation. In working with people relocating into Middle Tennessee over the past 30 years, I can tell you that the #1 concern is how good are your schools. Nashville has been a very attractive location for the past several years. The deciding feature for most will be how good your schools are and what our quality of life is like. There's an old saying in real estate, location, location, location. Sumner County is a great location in Middle Tennessee. The willingness of the County Commission to step out and make this long overdue investment will help Sumner County become the best place to buy a home, start or relocate a company, find a job, and raise a family. With this investment, Sumner County still has one of the lowest property tax rates in Middle Tennessee. It's exciting to know that our future, our children's future, and investing in our community is this important to the leadership of Sumner County.
Another example, as you just heard, is how important it is to invest, do things like economic development, and the Forest Retreat Exchange in Hendersonville are one of those projects. This started and originally was approved in the 1990s. The County Commission was going to get involved at that time and was approved for a 20% match. It opens up 174 acres of new industrial development. Along with many other benefits, it provides access to industrial development that includes 86 development acres that exist, predicts that 1,000 or more residents will have far closer and better exchange to the interstate and bypass, and represents 2,130 cars, or 9.15%, that will have better access to 386. This is a general map that shows the area that is between the Center Point exits and New Shackle Island Road. Another example, and something that you've heard about in the media, is about the opportunity for ECD and the investment that we would like to make in Sumner County, specifically around Gallatin for a development site. For example, as everyone knows, we are looking at a proposed site of 800 to 1,000 acres, a highly accessible location that would be beneficial for our entire county as it relates to other development areas. Potential development for high-paying jobs. Here is the actual site that you've actually seen in the local newspapers. It's an area near Gallatin, just off of 109, that also touches 386 and also has rail. A very wonderful site that has been looked at by state ECD folks. Here you can see longtime Sumner County resident and entrepreneur Charlie Haygood, who couldn't be with us tonight, but he wanted to show his actions that he supports what this county commission has done.
How does Sumner County compare in Middle Tennessee to the surrounding counties? Well, in the mid-state area, we're 7th for our tax rate of 2.50. When you look at median home value, we're 3rd with $176,000. And when you look at the tax burden, which is a compilation of our home values, our tax rate, and median household income, we're actually 7th.
Many have asked the question, why wasn't this dealt with before, since the last tax increase was 11 years ago? And specifically, why was the tax increase not suggested previously? In fact, 2 times in 2012, a motion was made to prevent this situation and tried. Let's take a look at 2 clips from back in the summer of 2012.
I think if we have a small increase now, it'll help us to maybe avoid a large increase in the next few years. And I think we need to really seriously consider what we heard this afternoon, what we heard the doctor present to us. You know, I know I don't want a property tax increase. I don't want taxes increased. But at the same time, I think we've got to face reality. And I think that if we continue with where we are now, I seriously think that we're going to be in a situation where we'll have to make a major tax increase. And I don't think any of us want to do that. And it may not be with this commission. It may be with the next commission. But if we do the small increase now, perhaps that'll save us from having to do that later. And my recommendation is that we do 10 cents for schools and that we do 4 cents for the county general. Let me explain to you why I think we need to do something for both. First of all, with the county general, we've got court systems that are struggling with the numbers. They're having, you know, we've been asked to add an additional sessions judge. We have not done that. We're trying to do something with this budget for juvenile court, which I commend, but they still need help there. The sheriff's department, he's been asking for deputies. The jail is sitting there with over 800, and I commend the sheriff because the sheriff stepped up and rather than trying to increase what he's asking, he is now going to a 3-person cell rather than 2-people cell. And so he's tried to make some adjustments there. We've got county employees that are going to get a 1% raise, but that's going to be eaten up with what they have with insurance costs. So in essence, they're not getting a raise. We got self-insurance that is depleting. We've got an on-the-job injury fund that is getting low. We've got some real challenges with the county general fund. And with education, there's a $7.6 million deficit with what they're asking. And I realize that they are getting more money than they've had in the past. But they've asked for $7.6 million more. Realistically, I don't think that we can fund their full request. And so what I am proposing is the 10 cents, which would be about $4 million for the schools, which would get them about half of the shortfall that they have. And the 4 cents that we would put with the county general would add about $1.6 million to what county general would have. And I want to point out with the education budget that over the last, since I've been on this commission, every time the education budget would come up, it would always be, well, I don't trust the figures. You know, and at this point, what we're listening to and what we're hearing, to me, is just a shell game. All we're doing is just moving one thing to another thing and taking from another area. And at the end of the day, if we were to do any of those, we're still cutting out some of the things that I think all of us, or most of us anyway, feel like that we would need to do, especially with the capital projects. So I'm going to make a motion, and it's going to be the same motion I made last time. I think that what we need to do is that we need to step up. We need to do a property tax increase. I would love to say that we could fully fund the school board's request, but I don't think we can do that. Realistically, we can't do that. And at the last, in July, I made the motion that we do 10 cents for schools, which would give them $4 million. And I think we need to do something on the county general fund. We talked about this the last time. Not only are the schools having trouble, but we've got other areas. We've got a general sessions court that's overburdened. We've got county workers that are getting a 1% increase, and their insurance is going to be more than that. We've got the sheriff's department who needs more deputies. We've got some jail capital improvements that are going to be hitting us soon. We've got a self-insurance and on-the-job injury fund that is going to have to be replenished. And if we don't step up and begin to do something now, down the road, again, as I pointed out the last time, we're going to be looking at a significant tax increase. Maybe not by this commission, but some commission down the road is going to have to step up and pick up some of the things that we're failing to do right now. We've got the lowest tax rate in the area. We haven't had a tax increase in this county in 8 years. We're using reserves and capital expenditures, again, doing a shell game, trying to fund this thing. We've got reassessment of property in 2 years. We all know that property is going to drop. And so if property drops and reassessments drop, that means that revenue is going to drop. And so a small increase now may help us avoid a large increase later on down the road. So I'm making a motion that we give the schools 10 cents and that we give the county general 4 cents.
And this are the minutes and the votes from that particular meeting that you just saw. Yet another time that this was discussed was in December 2013, where the budget chairman at the time pointed out that some of the things that we were doing would have to have a tax increase. As you can see, the quote was additional revenue like a tax increase would be required.
Why wasn't the need for an increased tax rate discussed recently? Well, in fact, it was. In August, September, and October, it was discussed openly in the commission meetings. In September and November, it was discussed in both the Budget and Education Committee meetings, and it was discussed in a September ad hoc committee meeting. Let's watch recent discussions by members of the commission regarding the November 3rd meeting and the need for an adjustment to the tax rate.
Just a reminder, this Thursday evening at 5 o'clock in this room, Dr. Phillips will be making a presentation on this year's education budget. He has a power presentation. He said it'll last, he says it shouldn't last longer than an hour, and that will just be no voting. We'll just be discussing the education budget. There'll be questions. If you have any questions, We would encourage the Budget Committee people and the Education Committee people to be at that meeting, and anyone else who would like to be there, because that education budget is quite complex, and he will give you an understanding of what the education budget is made up of. So that is at 5 o'clock on Thursday, and then at 6 o'clock on Monday, there'll be a combined meeting of the Education Committee and the Budget Committee to vote on the education budget. We'll vote on Monday. What that does is, on Thursday night, you'll get the information. You'll have a chance to study that and come back on Monday evening asking questions and voting. The Board of Education has already approved that budget.
Since our last meeting, which was September the 2nd, when the new commission was sworn in, the Education Committee has met 2 times, one being a called non-voting joint meeting of the Education and Budget Committees for the sole purpose of seeing Dr. Phillips do his budget presentation and to answer questions. That meeting lasted until all questions were answered. On Monday, September the 8th, the Education Committee met just prior to the Budget Committee. The purpose was to vote whether or not to pass the school budgets onto the Budget Committee to be voted on by them. All of our committee members had multiple opportunities to see the budget and ask questions.
Basically, what will happen is some of the people in this county will end up paying a little bit of a rate increase to offset our property value that has went down, and then looking forward to fund the budget a year from now, those same people will be asked to pay another rate increase to keep this budget funded. I want to be on the record saying I believe that we need more revenue. However, we have not got to a time and a position at this body to set what we believe that rate is can be. I'm on the record as saying that I believe that rate needs to be increased.
That was interesting, and here are some additional clips as it relates to that meeting.
Whatever million that was discussed is about a 25-cent property tax increase. That coupled with all the other things that we're already proposing for next year, knowing that you know, funding requests and inquiries usually don't come down. We don't come in and ask for less money from one year than we did the next. I threw the number out there at probably 42 cents, being conservative, more like 51 probably. It's what I feel like we're setting ourselves up for. A tax increase, a property tax increase, and to step out there and vote tonight for what I see coming as a, like I said, a conservative figure, 41 cents. Everything that I can come up with, it'd be more like 51. If you put that on a percentage basis, you're looking at increasing what our property owners pay by 25% in 1 year. I'd really guess that we would get a 25 cent this year to fund the budget that we're in now or going into, and a 25% cents next year. So there would be the 50 cents.
In full disclosure, Commissioner Mo Taylor did not vote for the tax increase. Now let's watch 2 other clips, notices as it relates to the November 3rd meeting.
Okay, then if there's no one else to speak, then I declare the public recognition to a close. Report of the chair. Let me put you on notice. I think all of us realize that at this point we do not have a tax rate set. We need to get that done as quickly as we can so that we can get the tax notices out to the people so that they can begin paying their taxes, especially those who would like to pay them by the end of the year for income tax purposes. So we are working on trying to pull together something so that in the next couple of weeks we will probably be calling a special session of this body so that we can discuss the tax rate. The Finance Committee will be working on that, putting something together, and so in the next few days, please be on the lookout for an email and advertisement that we will be calling a special meeting to address the tax rate.
2 more from the chair, Mr. Chairman, and echoing my colleague here,
Chairman Lamar, from the ad hoc committee. We have what's called Vision 2024 Budget Committee that was also appointed in budget. For the record is the Commissioners Jerry Becker, Jerry Foster, Paul Good, Steve Graves, Joanne Kemp, Kevin Pomeroy, Leslie Shell, Chris Taylor. Of course, the chairman, always ex officio member from his position. And obviously invite all the members or anyone that wants to attend the meeting. And again, echoing Madam Lamar, please take special notice of these special calls that the law director will have, I think officially put out tomorrow, where we're all going to be in conjunction with the school board and the director of schools. Second is just an announcement, Chairman, agreeing with you with the sense of urgency. We have Marty Miss Nelson over here. We are in a major time crunch as it relates to getting our tax cards out, and so that from a budget committee standpoint, we would imagine that call would come as well for everybody to stand by. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Another one of the misunderstandings that we continue to hear about was when the meeting was called and why. Was the meeting adequately noticed? Here you will see, regarding the November 3rd meeting, public notices as well as announcements. Just again to clarify, so how does that compare as it relates to the last time there was a tax increase? No discussion, one notice.
Is this really the largest tax increase in county history? It would seem so from all the discussion that's come up, but in actuality it's not. Let's look at two other examples where the tax rate was set higher. In 1989, the County Commission voted to increase the tax rate by 50 cents, giving them a new rate of $3.38. And let's look at the most recent one. This was in 2003 when they increased the certified public rate 11 years ago. During that meeting, there were 7 different rates proposed before the County Commission finally voted on a 45-cent increase. That gave them a rate of $2.59 in 2003. Paul?
Chris, that is extremely important and a great point. This brings up another point. On that same night in 2003, as you could see, there were 7 attempts, disagreements with what the tax rate was set. 7 attempts to amend it and change it. Yet on November 3rd, we are led to believe that many didn't like the rate that was set, yet no one made one attempt to lower that rate, amend it, or change it.